Hi, my name is Charette Miller, and this is the Divine Expansive Podcast, Episode 1. Here we are. Honestly, I wasn't sure that I would ever get to this point, so it's an interesting start for me, let's say. Um, to go into what's going to happen today, which is always going to be a toss up. I'm following whatever, I'm guided to say and bring in. I've got a couple of notes just that I'm not sitting here talking to you guys for 2 hours about whatever. I'm a talker. I have a lot of words. So I do have some notes, but where I'm going to start at here is just first off letting you know that this is my messy beginnings. It is what it is. I mean, at this point, I'm starting messy, and that's okay because everybody has to start somewhere. So here we are. Welcome to the madness. Secondly, language disclaimer. I do use curse words. Yes, my mouth can get a little out of control at hands, and sometimes my language is a bit colorful. So I think I'll let you guys know that right up front. Might happen, might not. All right. So I want to go ahead and do a little introduction of me so that you have some idea of who I am and why I'm here and what I'm doing, even though I don't really know any of that. Honestly, why am I here? Why are any of us here? What are any of us doing? Nobody really knows. That's the secret. It's the joke of it all, too. So, as I said, my name is Charette Miller. I am the owner and operator of a business called the Divine Expansive LLC. We are in the startup stages at this point. I love saying we, which just makes it sound more important because right now, honestly, it's just me. There's nobody else. It's just me. So we is me. All right. So aside from that, I am, in my personal life, I am a devoted wife. My husband is the most amazing man on the planet, and I couldn't love him more. We have been together over 22 years and married 17 and a half years. Pretty amazing. We have 2 sons, so I'm a mommy of boys. My oldest is 14 and my youngest is 9. They are both amazing, and I homeschool them right now. That is a whole journey in itself. Maybe we'll talk about that later. Maybe not, but we probably will. I actually have been a stay-at-home mom of those boys since I had my oldest son, so 14 years, 15 years if you count the time I was pregnant. And that's been an amazing journey. Lots of ups and downs. There was a lot to that. During that time, I was on psych meds for severe type 1 and type 2 bipolar disorder. I had been diagnosed with that when I was 23. And then I had my oldest son at 28. So it was a long journey. I am now not on psych meds anymore for bipolar disorder. It's something that is, I would say that I'm still in the process of working through. It definitely happened for me, the whole ordeal, all of it. Being on the psych meds, the way that it happened when I came off of them, I had kidney and liver failure going on and just lower, if they weren't operating properly, let's say. So that's a part of my journey. If you notice, I got a little bit stumbled up talking about it. We're going to talk about that another day because that's a whole different story in a different area of my life that honestly I've been doing a lot of reframing of and working through being able to share that story. So if you're here with me from the beginning, you're going to see my whole evolution. I don't know what that's going to entail or what it's going to look like, but you're going to see it. Okay, so since coming off of the psych meds, which that happened in 2019, it's now 2025, which is crazy. I can't even believe that. But I came off the psych meds in 2019, and I began to have a spiritual awakening at that point. Mystical, cosmic stuff. That we'll go more into at some point too, and it'll tie into a little bit of what I'm going to be talking to you about today on this particular episode. But that's really just kind of the Cliff Notes version of my life and where I am right now. Professionally, as far as this business goes, I'm working towards, like I said, the startup of the business. and I am a board certified hypnotherapist. I went to school for that during 2023 and into 2024, and I've got my certification. I'm certified through IMDHA, and I went to an amazing school in Arizona. I live in Arizona, called SWIHA, Southwest Institute of Healing Arts. I couldn't recommend that school more. They have online programs of all sorts. It's incredible, the whole experience. And after my certificate and graduation and such, the people that I have met and made connections with, it's been phenomenal. So amazing school. Okay, all of that being said, I want to do a card reading, an oracle card reading for this first episode. Now, oracle cards are something that are fairly new for me. It's something I've realized that I enjoy, and have also realized that I have a little bit of a talent and a knack for. I've done some readings, personal readings for friends and family, and a couple of clients, hypnotherapy clients. That is another story. I will be seeing more hypnotherapy clients soon, just not right at this moment. So in the meantime, what I am doing is I'm putting out an offering of personal oracle card readings for anyone who's interested in having something like that done. Since it's something that is a little bit of a practice and a startup for me, I'm going to go ahead and offer my first 25 personal oracle card reading sessions based on donation. Okay, so if you're interested, after listening to this card reading that I'm going to go ahead and do here today, please let me know. I will include a link. Like I said, I'm new at this, so I don't know where the link's going to be. You know how in the videos, like, they're so cool and they're like, okay, go ahead and click on the link here. And then they like put a link there. And yeah, I'm not that cool yet. But we're working on it. We're working on it. All right. So wherever I put the link, I'm sure you'll find it. I'll make it easily accessible. So the card reading. I'm going to do a collective reading today. Typically what that means is I'm going to pull 3 cards. One will be for the past, one will be for the present, and one will be for the future. I do not do predictions. I have opinions on it, and I'm going to go ahead and keep them to myself for now. But predictions are not something that I actually offer. How I like to spin it, the way that I do the card readings, is more of a perspective shift. Everybody gets stuck. We all have moments where we are feeling uncertain, feeling lost, not sure what direction to go with our life. And that stuck energy sometimes just needs a perspective shift. Something fresh from the outside looking in to show you a different way to look at it. Because let's face it, when you're in the middle of the shitstorm, it's impossible to look around and see, to have clarity and to see what's to come and what the good things are, what your lessons are, and to even realize that the shitstorm is happening for you, because it is. I've had plenty of my own, and I can attest to the fact that they have always happened for me, no matter what. That is a mindset type of scenario. We'll talk more about that later. But for now, we are going to do an oracle card reading. So stick with me. The cards that I am using are called Sacred Geometry Activations Oracle Deck. Hopefully you can see that. I have some weird lighting going on here. But these are by Lawn. So that's the deck that I am using. They are absolutely beautiful. I have used these in a video before, and the cards are stunning. Every time I pull them out, that's like my first thought is like, oh, they're beautiful. Like, they're so stunning. Like, you can see all of the beautiful colors, and they're large. They're actually really, really big. So to put them next to my head for perspective, they are large cards. I love them, and actually my kids love them. So these are what we're going to be using today. There is a guidebook. I don't often use the guidebook, but it is available. So that's something, if someone who wants to purchase these cards, I think I got them on Amazon. If you're interested in purchasing them and you want to learn more about it and what it all means and like more in-depth types of perspectives on these cards, the guidebook is actually really good. So I tend to go ahead and do the readings in a more intuitive manner. So in that sense, I'm going to go ahead and shuffle the cards, clear the energy from the deck, clear my own energy, because doing card readings like this, it is energy work. It is absolutely energy work. And for any person who's an energy worker or light worker or someone who enjoys doing things like this, it's super important to clear your own energy as well as clear the energy of whatever tool that you happen to be using in whatever modality that you are utilizing. So I've shuffled the cards. I'm going to cut the cards. I'm going to go ahead and pick 3 right off the top for past, present, and future, and we'll see what comes up. First card, Remembrance. I am trying to hold these up in a manner that they can be seen. Okay, so at the bottom of the card, you might or might not notice there are some words that give a little description about what this is about. The frequency of remembrance. So I'm going to go ahead and read this. This card is representing the past in this particular reading. The frequency of remembrance supports our memory of everything that we have gone through as a soul and body, providing us with valuable information and tools to flow gracefully with and in this life. Okay. So as a past reference, obviously remembrance makes sense when you're thinking about the past because you remember the past. My motto on the past is that the only reason to ever look back at the past is to see how far you've come. And I love this card for that reason and for that motto that I live by. Now, remembering things of the past helps you to not make mistakes in the future. I think right now what's happening in the collective is that many of us have past types of emotions and such that are coming up and bubbling up in us right now. And that tends to be painful, like, let's be honest. And most of us want to run from it. Most of us want to push it back down and bury it because that's the comfortable thing to do that we're all used to doing. But when you really think about it, the emotions are there to tell you something. They have a message for you. It's something that you need to face in order to learn from. Because if you get the message from the emotion, then you get to take the lesson from the emotion. The emotion can dissipate, move on, transmute into something better for something else, somewhere else, and you get to move on with a beautiful lesson. So that is what this card, in my opinion, represents as far as the past. I love it. Absolutely beautiful. Card number 2 of 3. I'm going to go ahead and shuffle them again. I don't always, but for some reason it feels like they should be shuffled again right now. So we're going to go with that intuition. All right. Cutting the cards again. Number 2. The present. Integration. That seems very fitting for a present moment situation. Hopefully you can see that. I've got some weird lighting going on here. The frequency of integration. All right, let me go ahead and read this one as our present card, number 2. The frequency of integration supports our embrace of every aspect of ourselves, allowing that we perceive as positive, allowing what we perceive as positive and what we perceive as negative to harmonize in a balanced symphony of life. Since I couldn't read for a moment there, let me go ahead and read that again. The frequency of integration supports our embrace of every aspect of ourselves, allowing what we perceive as positive and what we perceive as negative to harmonize in a balanced symphony of life. Integration. Okay, so what this card is talking about in my interpretation is duality. Duality and polarities. I'll be honest, I'm learning some things about the spiritual law of polarity. And what this says about embracing the aspects, every aspect of ourselves that we perceive as a positive and what we perceive as to be negative into harmony. That is the idea behind the concept of duality. We all have a light side and a dark side. everything that exists on the planet has a light side and a dark side. What the concept of duality states is that neither are right or wrong. They are just opposite of each other. They just are. You can't have cold without hot, because if you didn't have hot, you wouldn't know what cold was. So the opposites are important. What this is talking about is our emotional state. So already we have a beautiful tie-in for the past and the present. We have the past of remembrance, remembering what we went through and the emotions that tied into what we went through, and going into those emotions and addressing them and embracing them and acknowledging them, because they are important. They were there to teach us something. And from there, as you go into your emotions, when you do learn how to do that, it's definitely a form of shadow work, and it's a practice. It isn't easy. I am still in the midst of it myself and learning how to do this. But as you learn how to go into your emotions as opposed to running from them or burying them, as most of us tend to do, you get to a point where this integration really starts to make sense. Because you can see that this horrible experience that you had that brought about such negative emotions for you, you can see where you grew from going through that experience. So it's a pretty advanced concept if you think about it. Learning how to integrate the negative emotions that you have felt and embrace them, as opposed to looking at them as something that happened to you. You're going to look at them as something that happened for you. That is how you integrate them. And I think that the collective is in a space of learning how to do that right now. It's not easy. Like I said, it is shadow work. And in essence, I feel like 2025, there's a lot of shadow work happening for a lot of people, myself included. I just believe that it's a massive shift that humanity is happening, that is happening within humanity. A shift that humanity is having is maybe what I meant to say. So yeah, right now, in this present moment, we are all learning, some of us the hard way, most of us the hard way, how to integrate our positive experiences or emotions and our negative experiences and emotions, and to realize that all of it happens for us. Really beautiful. I love the last line of this. You harmonize it in a balanced symphony of life. That's something to really think about. Words to live by. Okay, now for the future. Once again, we're going to shuffle the cards. This is interesting because I don't normally shuffle the cards in between each. But I will say that I feel like what's happening right now at the start of 2025 for a lot of us, for the collective, and I say a lot of us because there's a lot of people in my life that I know are going through things and having some hard times. Like I said, I'm included in that. And I just believe that right now is a big deal. It's a big deal, and there's just so many things that need to happen in order for all of us to feel content again. There's a huge era of discontentedness and discord, dissonance, whatever you want to call it, but it's an uncomfortable space to be in. And I think that part of the lesson in that is learning how to be comfortable with discomfort, learning how to be outside of your comfort zone, because outside of your comfort zone is where growth happens. That's where all of the growth happens. And expansion. Okay, last card for the future. Again, disclaimer, I do not do any type of future predictions. That is not any part of what I choose to do with my spiritual gifts. So this card will be more of a perception of a different way to look at the future. As I spoke about initially, perspectives. So it's going to be a perspective for the future. I love it when the cards shock me, and it's not ever really a shock. It's just like, whoa, okay, that lined up perfectly. That's what I feel is happening here. So the future card that came up is realization. Okay. I hope you guys realize how much fun I am having with doing this and doing these card readings because of the way that they come out, because it always makes sense. And I always tell people, my husband is a little bit of a skeptic when it comes to the the woo-woo, the mystical, cosmic side of things. Very, very much. He's a skeptic. So when I look at the cards and I'm doing all these things, and sometimes I'll practice on him for fun, and he'll say, maybe these cards are they're all just set up so that anything that you pull out can be relatable to anybody at any point. And anybody who has ever had any dealings with having a card reading or doing card readings, or who knows anything about anything mystical, you would know that that is definitely not true. You feel it when something resonates with you, when cards are pulled and they match your frequency, your vibrational frequency, and it literally causes a resonance in your body. You feel that. And it's a spirit, mind, body experience. So people who tend to be skeptical of it, they haven't necessarily put together the spirit, mind, body complex of the whole to be able to just accept it as what it is. This is for fun. None of this is serious. None of this is life, like altering in any way. It's just shifting perspectives and helping you to view your life in a different way should you choose to. Some people want to live their life and view it the same way all the time. That's fine. That's where they are. I accept everybody where they are. But if you're here watching this, then that's probably not you. You're probably a person who wants to learn how to shift your perspective in life and how to enjoy your journey better and how to grow and how to expand. So that's what I love to help with. All right. Little tangent there, mini tangent. So the future card, realization. I'm going to go ahead and read it. The frequency of realization supports the internal process of becoming aware of our heart-centered truth, as well as the external process of becoming our highest expression in this world. Wow. Realization. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. And if we're looking at these cards that I pulled in a sense of past, present, and future, it makes perfect sense. Remembrance of the past so that you can learn from it. Integration of the past and what you learned in the past so that you can become a better person and learn the lessons from what you needed to learn in the past. And realization. The realization that you have integrated all of the things that you're needing from that past to move forward into your future within a heart-centered truth. That makes my heart sing. Heart-centered truth. The external process of becoming our highest expression in this world. What better way to end this episode 1 of the Divine Expansive podcast? Realization. So you take that integration that you've come to from the remembrance of the past and you use it for your future so that you can realize who you are and what you're here to do. And that's not an easy process. It really is not. The divine purpose. We could definitely go down a rabbit hole with that. Let me tell you, there's a lot that can be said about that. But I think that the most important part of this last card of realization here is the part that it says about your heart-centered truth. Finding your truth, whatever that is. And let's be real, it changes. Everything is subject to change, especially this human experience. So look at whatever your heart-centered truth is right now. Realize what that is and use it to propel yourself forward in the world into 2025. Because this is going to be an interesting year. I don't know how or why or when or what, but I know one thing. I'm going to personally take the time to be as present as possible and just flow with all of the possibilities. It's the only thing that I would suggest to every person I know. Just flow. Be yourself, love yourself, and going back to these cards, as a recap, remembrance. Remember who you were. Remember what happened for you. Remember to go into those emotions and use them to your benefit. Learn the lessons that they were there to taught you, that they were there to taught you. Can't talk today, apparently. That they were there to teach you. Integration, present. Take all of those lessons that you learned from that past remembrance and put it into where you are today. Integrate it. I'm looking at what it says. That's right. Harmonize in the balance and the symphony of life. Yes. That makes me so happy. And lastly, the future. Use that integration to realize what your heart-centered truth is. Move forward with it and flow. Do what makes your heart feel happy. Do what makes you feel light. And be kind to others. All right, so on that note, I think we're all done. I am grateful to all of you, anyone who is here and who listened to this episode number 1. In the future, I imagine it'll probably become a bit more streamlined, but as I stated in the beginning, this is the messy beginnings. Lucky you get to be here for the messiness. The evolution is going to be fun, though. I can guarantee you that. Why? Because that's just how I roll. Okay, so have a good day. Have a good evening. Have a good week. Have a good year. And I will be back. Talk to you soon.